Welcome back to the Trumpian Marker, where I follow the executive orders that are coming out of the Trump administration. But today's going to be quite different because I'm going to be following a story that has to do with the Trump administration intervening in Andrew Tate's house arrest. So we're going to get into that story. And while we get into that story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Remember that your likes and your shares are very important. And what it does is it pushes videos like this up in the algorithm. It tells the algorithm that videos like this are important. Trump administration pressures Romania to lift restrictions on Andrew Tate. Tristan and Andrew Tate have been charged with, we know that, organized crime and money laundering. The Trump administration has pressured Romanian authorities to lift travel restrictions on the self described misogynist influencer Andrew Tate, a champion of the US president who is facing criminal charges in Bucharest. Andrew and his brother Tristan Tate, who are dual US and UK nationals, have become a cause celebre in right-wing social media after having been arrested in Romania in 2022 and charged with human trafficking, etc., and money laundering, as well as starting an organized crime group. They have denied all wrongdoing. The Tate's case was first brought up by US officials in a phone call with the Romanian government last week, and then followed up by Trump's special envoy, Richard Grenell, when he met the Romanian foreign minister at the Munich Security Conference, according to three people familiar with the matter. A fourth person said a request was made to return the brothers' passports and allow them to travel while they await for court proceedings to conclude. Romanian Foreign Minister Emil Hurazunu declined to comment on his exchange with Grenell. His spokesperson said Hurazunu initiated the meeting and that they had known each other for a very long time. Had, quote, known each other for a long time, end quote, as they had both served as ambassadors in Berlin during the first Trump presidency. The spokesperson did not comment on their specific discussions, but said, quote, Romanian courts are independent and operate based on the law. There is due process, end quote. Grenell said he had no substantive conversation with Hurzino, who he denied knowing. He, quote, saw me in the hallway, end quote, in Munich and, quote, asked for a meeting, end quote, but there was no follow-up encounter, Grenell said. Quote, Grenell said that he support the Tate brothers as evident by his publicly available tweets. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this month Grenell wrote on X that Romania was the last example of how funds disbursed by the U.S. agency for the international development had been, quote, weaponized against people and politicians who weren't what he believed to be woke. The Trump administration has slashed U.S. aid payments and attempted to fire many of its staff. So Tristan Tate has called on supporters to find out if any U.S. aid went to Romania to fund any particular lawfare-based investigations, in apparent reference to his and his brother's own cases. The Tate brothers have millions of online followers in the manosphere, online platforms, which are aimed at young men that promote male superiority and reject feminism, which play a role in Trump's re-election. Tucker Carlson, a Trump ally and former Fox anchor, has carried out sympathetic interviews with both brothers, calling on viewers to make up their own mind about them. Tristan Tate boasted on X in November about the brothers' role in the US election, claiming that millions of young men in Europe and the USA have healthy right-wing approach to politics that they would not have if Andrew Tate had never appeared on their phone screens. Wow, that's quite disconcerting, isn't it? The UK is also seeing the brothers' extradition after police in Bedfordshire obtained an arrest warrant as part of an investigation into allegations of theft and human trafficking. A Romanian court ruled last year that they can be extradited once there is a final decision in their case in Romania. So there is a separate civil lawsuit which was filed last week by a woman in Florida, which alleged that the brothers coerced her into an encounter uh, against her own violation after having lured her to Romania and accused them of defaming her as she testified against them in Bucharest. The pair have recently secured a legal victory in Romania after an appeals court sent their case back to prosecutors. They were also released from house arrest but are not allowed to leave the country. The Tate brothers remain fully dedicated to working alongside their legal team to explore every legal avenue available within the framework of Romania's judicial system, the brothers said in a written statement. Their sole focus is on ensuring that due process is followed and that their innocence is established in a court of law. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance last week lashed out at Romanian authorities for annulling a presidential election as an example of an alleged crackdown on right wing politicians threatening Europe's democracy from, quote, from within, end quote. The country's constitutional court in December said it took the unprecedented step because the electoral process has been, quote, flawed, end quote, by highly sophisticated social media campaigns suspected of having been coordinated by Moscow. Vance said the vote cancellation was based on, quote, flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors, end quote. The US vice president's criticism was seen as vindication by the far right candidate who topped the canceled vote, Colin Georgescu, who plans to run again in May rerun. His campaign's chief's home was raided by police last week after Georgescu declared having spent zero money on his election campaign. And criminal proceedings are brought against him. If criminal proceedings are brought against him, the Constitutional Court could dismiss his bid for the presidency. Georgescu, is that Georgescu? It's a difficult name to pronounce, isn't it? Was interviewed on Sunday by another manosphere influencer, Mario Nafal, who described him on X as, quote, Romania's rightful president who risks being barred by running. Quote, the exact playbook they tried against Trump, end quote, he added. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? What do you think about Trump intervening in this case with Andrew Tate? Do you think that this is something that the Trump administration should be doing? Do you think that, do you think that that's something that the Trump administration should be doing? Do you think that Romania should let the Tate brothers off of house arrest? Or do you think that the Romanian government should allow them to leave the country? Or do you think that they're rightfully keeping the Tate brothers within the country? Like, what is your opinion on this? Do you believe the victims in this particular case? Do you think that they have enough evidence to keep Andrew Tate in the country? Or do you think that the prosecutors haven't proven their case? What is your opinion? It's something that I want to know and look forward to discussing with you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I am Kiana Canada. You can follow me on Facebook, and I will hope to see you soon for another episode of the Trumpian Marker. Bye bye.